Hi, everybody. This is Lisa Haven, and today I just want to touch on some pretty awesome stuff. But something big is being hidden from the public eye, and that's what I want to talk about with you today. The government is hiding a bunch of information, and this is just some of the stuff that we're going to go over. We have first an organizational chart of who's in charge of what, and then we're going to get into what they're hiding from us. The U.S. Space Center Intelligence Agency, Operation Majority, if you have not heard of that, it's pretty cool. The U.S. Alien Cover Up, Top Secret Majestic and Majestic Projects. And then here's some of the other things. Secret weapons used against the aliens, information and inside reports, and other alien tips from reports and NSA security system. Now, this information, it's legit, and it's actually from a thing called Blue Planet Project. But they have it listed here, but it's called Blue Planet Project. Let me see if I have it on a link. All right, here it is, blueplanetproject.com. But this is basically, it was written by a top secret U.S. government scientist, if you will, or agent, if you will. And it contains alien research. And it contains notes and drawings made by the scientist as he visited various UFO sites. And he actually disappeared after releasing this information. And you can go to this website to look up more information. But I have from the highest of source that this is 100% legit. But let's get back to some of our main information here. All right, here's like a intelligence agency chart. Let me zoom in a little bit so we can see that. And here we go. So we see the President of the United States, the National Security Council, the CIA, and it goes off into FBI, Defense Agency, and then here's the CIA and off branch. Here's the Intelligence Agency and the rest, and then the State Department and the Department of Defense. And then let's go on. Here's another one. U.S. Space Center. Here's the hierarchy, if you will, or the breakdown of this. Whoops. Okay, the President of the United States. And as you can see here, I'll let you just take a look at that. And this Star Wars city thing in Colorado Springs, answers to the president. And here's the bottom of it. Oh, look who's here. Rockefeller. All right, here's our first section, the invisible government. And now this is just a portion of that Project Blue Book. But let's go here. President Truman signed the National Security Act on July 26, 1947. And immediately named Secretary of the Naval Forstall as the Secretary of Defense. Forstall and others were sworn in September 17th, 1947. Why is 1947 important, and why did he sign this act in 1947? Well, if you recall, what happened in 1947? A flyer saucer on ranch in Roswell, that happened. So why the need to all of a sudden print this information because of what happened at Roswell? Well, obviously there's something else going on. But let's go back to our source. So let's check the National Security Act of 1947. Aside from military reorganization, which is what this act did, it established the National Security Council, a central place of coordination for national security policy in the executive branch and the CIA and the U.S. peacetime intelligence agencies. A place where they can all convene and talk about what happened. The function was to address the president on domestic, foreign, and military policies and to ensure cooperation between the military and the intelligence agencies. Now, why would they need cooperation, and why would they need them to cooperate? Maybe there was something else going on. But let's go on. Here is Operation Majestic, Special Studies Project. It's also known as MJ-12, and it's said to be a top secret research and development intelligent operation established by President Truman in, oh, you guessed it, 1947. It was MJ-12 was a committee set up inside the NSC. In 1954, Eisenhower signed the secret Executive Order number 5412. Newsweek in June 24th, 1964, carried over a review of the Invisible Government. One of their major revelations is the existence of a special group, 54-7, a hitherto classified adjunct of the National Security Council, specifically changed by the president with ruling on special operations. Now, this NSC called the group 54-12 committee, which gave the president responsibility of approving a black covert project. Now, this MJ-12 group is basically gone through a lot of changes over the year, and they have been called the Special Committee of the 303, and currently the 40 Committee, and they can often be represented by 4 X's. It shows that here, or the double cross as it describes. So just who exactly is this 40 committee? Well, they have access to advanced technology and team cover-ups. In the past, it was headed by our infamous Harry Kissinger when he gave William Colby permission to commission Howard Hughes, the Summa Corporation, to build a submarine and special craft to salvage a vessel. So Harry Kissinger has been linked to the 40 committee, and basically they have access to some of the most top things in government technology, cover-up, things like that. But let's check out and see what more about this MJ-12 company. Whoa, check this out. We are actually on vault.fbi.gov in regards to the Majestic program. So FBI. And as soon as I clicked to look at Majestic 12 in this program, this disclaimer came up. Well, let's check it out. The FBI's reading room contains many files of public interest and quote unquote historical value. Well, I tried to pull that back up and it's not doing it again. So maybe go back and pause and read what it said. But basically, if I can remember correctly, they were trying to say it doesn't hold the same views, yada, yada. And they have to put that stuff on there to cover their rear ends. Okay, that's why they do it. But anyway, go back, pause it, and read it. Okay, here's their words on it. Majestic 12, in 1988, 2 FBI offices received similar versions of a memo titled Operation Majestic 12, claiming to be highly classified government document. The memo appeared to be a briefing for newly elected President Eisenhower on a secret committee created to exploit a recovery of an extraterrestrial aircraft and cover up this work from public examination. And of course, the Air Force claims it to be a fake like everything else. Anyhow, here's the document right on the vault.fbi.gov website. So call it a conspiracy, but you're just out of luck there. So anyway, let's scroll. I'm not going to scroll through all the pages. If you want to check it out, you know where to go. And if it was such a fake, why are they blacking out information? That's what I want to know. So it contains possible classified document of the United States Air Force, contacted by Dallas with FBI, claims the individuals refused, blah, 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 and they're blacking out some important information, probably about UFOs or something, that are obviously Nephilim, in disguise. But anyway, this is just some of the stuff. And here it says, Dallas notes that within the last 6 weeks, there has been a local publicity regarding Operation Majestic 12, discussing the operation, the individuals involved, unknown if this is all part of a publicity campaign. An Operation Blue Book, you're probably familiar with that. Let's go on. Now, here they are writing bogus on this whole thing, and yet, it's got top-notch people on this thing. And like I said, I have from the highest of sources that this is a legit document, no matter what uh, the FBI claims, and they have to put it on their information. This is exactly why it's on there. And bogus is written pretty much on all the pages. Anyway, you get the idea. You can see more than just names are blocked out here. I mean, some names you can see, so I don't know why they have to feel like they need to block out some information and not others. But anyway, that gives you the baseline of what the Committee of 40 and Project or Operation Majestic 12. Now let's talk about Operation Majority. Operation Majority, another thing being hidden from the public eye. It is the name of the operation responsible for every aspect, project, and all consequences of alien presence on Earth. If there weren't such thing as fallen angels and Nephilim, and which are the UFOs, then why why would they need an operation such as Operation Majority that deals with all aspirations of alien presence on Earth? Now, Majestic is actually the code name used by the President of the United States concerning information in Operation Majority. So if they want to use a code name, they say Majestic instead of Majority, but Operation Majority is the actual code name. All right. So the purpose of Project Grudge, which is involved in Majority, Grudge contains 16 volumes of information collected from the beginning of the U.S. investigation on UFOs. So Grudge, Project Grudge, is also a part of this whole thing. They have like numerous names. And identified alien aircrafts, IACs, that's identified. It was funded by the CIA and money from an illicit drug trade. Participation in the drug trade was justified, and that it would basically eliminate the weak of our society. If you remember, those who are in power, the elite, they want to depopulate the earth and get rid of the worthless race. Kind of like Nazi did in Hitler. He thought the Jews were worthless and scum and worth nothing in his opinion, so he mass murdered millions and millions of people because he wanted a superior race. Well, this is a lot like our government today. They follow the rules of the Georgia Guidestones. And if you're not familiar with that, you can look it up. But anyhow, the Jason Society, a secret society within our government. And this was supposedly issued or commissioned by President Eisenhower. And he calls it the Jason Society or Jason Scholars. And it was under the leadership of these following people, and you might know them. But the director of CIA, Alan Walsh, Dr. Brzezinski, president of Trilateral Commission, now, and Harry Kissinger. Both of these guys are crazy sick. Let me just play you a clip from Brzezinski.
That for the first time in human history, for the first time in all of human history, almost all of mankind is politically awake. And these new and old major powers face still yet another novel reality, in some respects unprecedented. And it is that while the lethality of their power is greater than ever, their capacity to impose control over the politically awakened masses of the world is at a historical low. I once put it rather pungently, and I was flattered that the British Foreign Secretary repeated this, as follows. Namely, in earlier times, it was easier to control 1 million people, literally. It was easier to control 1 million people than physically to kill 1 million people. Today, it is infinitely easier to kill 1 million people than to control 1 million people. It is easier to kill than to control.
In Mr. Brzezinski's own words, it's easier to kill 1 million people than control 1 million people. He's obviously very, very prominent in the depopulation theory. And here he is appointed as one of those commissioned by Eisenhower to be part of this Jason Scholar or Jason Society. But basically, the society was made up of 32 of the most prominent men in the U.S. MJ12 is the name of the secret control group inside the Jason Society. So you see how these linked. The Majestic 12 group, so this this right here that we talked about, the Majestic 12, is basically inside the Jason Society, so they're part of it. The top 12 members of the 32, so there's a top 12 of the 32, were designated by Majestic alone. So Majestic 12 has control over everything that's going on, if you will. And they give a couple codes and whatnot. Now, just a side note, on top of this, something else that our elite are hiding is MJ12 is responsible only to the President of the United States, as you saw in the hierarchy chart above. But believe it or not, they actually run most of the illegal drug trade. Why? That's because people like Brzezinski and Harry Kissinger, who are huge depopulation agents, believe that the illegal drug trade eliminates the weak of the society. So it's just a way to kill people in their opinion, and just another thing that they're hiding for us. Now, there's also a theory that the M12 group was the ones who were actually ordered the assassination of Kennedy when he first formed the MJ12 group, that he was going to tell the public all the facts on alien life. So because President Kennedy was going to expose the group like the Illuminati, who is in direct link with the aliens and Nephilim, he was going to expose this group. And because of that, that's why he was killed. And this claims that he was killed by a Secret Service agent, according to, things in his car and eyewitnesses. But MJ12 has a special program for elimination of weak members of society. And here's these three things. These are three things. First of all, on a big scale, the creation of AIDS. There are higher ups that talk about, yeah, that's why we created AIDS, and I can't quote who it is off the moment, but there is also accidents of people who have been knowingly, secretly eliminated. People such as Philip Schneider, who have revealed underground dumbs. They murdered him outright. And news reporters, the recent one, Michael. But there's disappearances, elimination of those. But these are just some tactics that they use if people know too much information. But anyhow, a secret meeting place was constructed by this MJ12 group in Maryland, and it was described as only accessible by air. But they gave a code name for this secret society, and it was the Country Club, which is surprisingly, it was donated by it was donated by the Rockefellers. Who else? Oh, aren't they a joy? All right. Major Agency for Joint Intelligence. All information, disinformation, and intelligence is gathered and evaluated by this agency. They're basically responsible for all disinformation and operations in conjunction with all these departments. And it's a very powerful organization. And check this out. All alien projects are under its control. And who do they answer to? Well, MAJI only answers to the MJ12. It's the security, classification, and clearance of all alien connected material projects and information. Oh, but aliens don't exist, yet they feel the need to make these departments. Just another thing, just another quick side note. All right, now that you know about some of the projects and the things that they're hiding from the public eye, let's move on to the U.S. alien government. And just a reminder, this is from the highest of source that this information is legit. In 1947, 2 years after we set off the first nuclear explosion that our current civilization detonated, came the Cap Mantle episode, where we had the first incident of a military confrontation with extraterrestrial Nephilim that resulted in the death of a military pilot. It is quite evident now that our government did not know how to handle the situation. And in 1952, the Capitol was overflown by a series of disc, and that was in 1952. It was under this event which led to the involvement of the U.S. security forces such as the CIA, the DIA, the NSA, and the FBI to try to keep it under control until they understood what was happening. Now, during this period, the original members of the group were, and it lists those, you can pause and read if you want, but this group was a working group established by the government known as the Majestic 12, the operation that we just spoke of, that I showed you all those documents on. These were the original people in there. And like I said, it was created when all this stuff started going down. All right, the MJ12 group, has been an existing group since it was created, and it's still here today, although they deny that. But every time new members go, they replace it with new members. I mean, every time someone dies, they replace it with new members. But this one guy, Secretary Forrester, who was involved in it all, and he basically upset at seeing the U.S. sold out in World War II, he wound up being sent to a Nazi hospital for emotional strain. But basically, before his relatives could get to him and talk to him, he jumped out of a window, and it was claimed that he committed suicide. That's just a conspiracy. His relatives say that that's not what happened, but he was replaced anyway by General Walter B. Smith. In December of 1947, the Roswell year, Project Sign was created to acquire as much information as possible about the UFOs, their characteristic, and their purposes in order to preserve security. Liaison between Project Sign and MJ12 was limited to 2 individuals with intelligence divisions of the Air Marshal Command, whose role was to pass along certain types of information. Now, obviously, Project Sign evolved into Project Grudge in 1948, just a year later. They're very good at changing names to, confuse. But anyway, Project Grudge had an overt civilian counterpart named Project Blue Book, of which we are all familiar today. And Majestic 12 was organized by a man named George Marshall, basically to study who? The Roswell and Magdalena UFO crashes. All right, but here's where it gets tricky. Not tricky, but probably upsetting. George Marshall, an Admiral, I can't say his last name, director of the CIA until September, they decided to activate what is known as the Roberts Panel, which monitors civilian UFO study groups such as you and me. If you're studying UFOs, or if you're studying about UFOs, or if you had contact with UFOs, this Roberts Panel knows about it. Something that they want to keep under wraps that they're not able to keep under wraps. They also have set up moles, if you will, people to try to distract you from the truth of what's going on. These men, the NICAP, and their successors have most successfully kept the public fooled for at least 39 years or more, including much of the Western world, by setting up false experts as real experts and throwing their influence behind them to make their plan work, with considerable successes until now. So they did have a group in place whose main goal it is to trick the public, if you will. So know that those groups and stuff do exist as well. Now, with the event of Roswell and the crash at St. Augustine Flats near Magdalena, New Mexico, this basically sent the government into a tizzy trying to reorganize agencies. And they were also obviously trying to duplicate some of the discs that they found, And here is some of the groups that they set up. And not a single one of these groups know the whole story. So they kind of give each group a piece of the story to form a full puzzle pie. Great way to keep things a secret, if you will. One thing that I do want to know is that the NSA Office of Scientific Intelligence, basically they were protected with the secret of recovering flying discs and eventually they got complete control over the communication intelligence, which is exactly why today this allows the NSA to monitor us through mail, telephone, telegrams, and now through computers and internet and whatnot. They're basically reverse engineering things, these spacecrafts to get technology. Well, top secret project MAJIC that we talked about right here, the Majority Agency for Joint Intelligence, basically is taking on a new name, Project Aquarius. They changed the project sign to Project Aquarius. All right, so what does Project Aquarius do? Another secret organization. It was originally established as part of Project Sign in 1954, also, the MJ, whatever it was, in 1954. Its mission was to establish diplomatic relationships with aliens. Whoa! Diplomatic relationships. Basically, this project was successful when mutually accepted terms were agreed upon. These terms involved the exchange of technology for the secrecy of alien presence and non-interference in alien affairs. Wow. Aliens agreed to provide MAJI with a list of human contacts on periodic basis. The project continuing at a site in New Mexico. This is huge. Here they are admitting to have contact with aliens through this Project Aquarius, through the MAJI, and and they're agreeing on terms with each other, showing how the elite are working with alien life forms. And here it says that its mission was to establish communication with aliens. That's exactly what they want to do. Its mission is to test and recover alien aircraft. This is all part of what's going on. Here is Aquarius, Grudge. They're all linked together, And then Red Light. Its mission is to develop, using conventional technology, a flying saucer, basically reverse engineering, which they continue to deny. Now let's check out some of the Majestic projects. I'm hoping to break this down easy enough, but the Majestic projects, number one, Sigma, the project which first established communications with aliens and is still responsible for those communications. Plato, it's responsible for the diplomatic relationship with the aliens, basically. The aliens agreed to furnish them with a list of abductees, so they're watching abductees or those who have been abducted. Aquarius, another branch, is the project which compiled the history of alien presence and interaction on Earth and the humans. So this is your breakdown of everything, and I'm going to put a copy of this in the post. Project Garnet is responsible for the control of all information and documents regarding alien subjects. Pluto, evaluating all UFO and IAC information. That's direct contact. Pounce was formed to recover and download the crashes of aliens. NRO is responsible for security on all aliens connected to the project. Delta is an arm of the NRO, which is specifically trained and tasked with security of all of these Majestic projects. It's a team and task force of those trained to provide alien task projects. So basically, these are the ones who cover the tracks of everything that's going on. Blue team is responsible for the reaction and recovery of crashed alien spacecraft. So a couple of them do that. Sign is responsible for the collection of intelligence and determining whether aliens are a threat to security. Red Light, to test, fly, and recover the alien craft. Snowbird, to cover Project Red Light, a cover for Project Red Light. You see how conspicuous they are? They have covers for their covers, and names. This is why when conspiracy theories talk about things like Project Blue Book, Delta, Pound. There's like 100 names for one thing now. Project Blue Book was a U.S. Air Force UFO and alien intelligence collection and disinformation project. It was terminated and its collected information and duties were absorbed by Project Aquarius. So basically, they've all been lumped into Project Aquarius. A classified report named Grudge Blue Book Report number 13 is the only significant information from the project and is unavailable to the public, obviously. Now, what should happen? They actually have a plan in place too. What should happen if this alien or Nephilim technology is leaked to the public? They have a plan A and a plan B, depending on what information is out or what the UFOs have done. So plan A, contain or delay release of information. And they have this code number here that they'll put. But basically, this plan called for the use of Majestic 12 as a disinformation ploy to delay and confuse the release of information should anyone get the truth out. So basically, it's designed to confuse memory and to result in fruitless search of material that does not exist. Basically, they're going to confuse you so much that you're not going to get it. You're going to get pieces of the story, which is exactly what they're doing today with millions of different names and code words for their things. Now, plan B, should the aliens take over? I guess it's a legit question. And if you believe in, Bible prophecy, then you have a view on that. And if you don't, you have your view on that. But my plan is biblical prophecy that obviously, the Antichrist is going to come in and take over to a point. But anyway, this plan, what should happen if it does happen? The plan calls for a public announcement that a terrorist group, has entered the U.S. with an atomic weapon. So if you hear that there's a terrorist group with an atomic weapon, it could be an alien or a UFO or Nephilim, in my opinion. That's how I see it. But it would be announced that the terrorists plan to detonate the weapon in a major city. Martial law, which is why they are preparing, would be declared, and all people with implants would be activated by the aliens. In other words, there are aliens putting chips inside of people. And this is just the Nephilim's way of control or messing with people. And Satan's building an army. We all know that because in the last days, there's a battle of good and evil. And this is part of his ploy. But there is martial law that's going to be enacted in the event, should the aliens try to take over, if you will. So if you hear of a terrorist group in the U.S. with an atomic bomb and they're going to, detonate in a major city, just know that it's could be a false flag of sorts to cover something deeper. But this is their plan, and martial law would keep people from finding out truth because they're going to take away your internet. They're going to take away your communication. They're going to take away everything from you. Why? Because they want to hide the information. So should they come and try to take over, you will have no idea what's going on. You're going to think there's a bomb and your loved ones are dead, while the government knows that you can't research it on the internet and you can't look it up. So you need to know in advance what that plan is. So when it happens, you really know what's going down. All right. So it's good to have this information and know. But persons in these cases, now, if they have been activated anyway, they do plan on rounding those up to FEMA camps or concentration camps. And the press, the radio, the TV would be nationalized and obviously controlled, which in my opinion, they already are. And anyone who resists the government will be sent to a FEMA camp, in their own words, arrested and killed. So there you have it. All right, we're almost done here. So just hang with me because you really need to hear this information. Anyway, the government does have secret weapons against the UFOs should something go against what they have. And they're these: Gabrielle, Joshua, Excalibur, and OBS Majestic. You can read about those if you want. Pause it, go over it. But basically, they're high frequency pulse generating weapons, or low frequency, or things like that. But here is this Excalibur is a weapon to destroy the alien underground bases. Right here, they're admitting that they have an underground base in one of their missiles. If not, why would they need to create a weapon for an underground military base? But there you have it. There's a piece of it. But anyway, you can pause and read that because I don't want to keep you guys too long here. All right. Information from inside Grudge and Blue Book. Here's just some information that they have on abductees and things like that. EBE is the name designated or given to the live alien captured in 1947 in Roswell. It basically means extraterrestrial biological entity. As I like to call Nephilim, they call it an ABE. If you hear EBE, you know what that is. Krill, the first alien ambassador of the United States. Guests are aliens exchanged for humans who gave us the balance of the Yellow Book. Yellow Book is all that we know about alien technology. So everything about their technology is in what's called Yellow Book. Religion, woo. The aliens believe in a universal cosmic God, Satan. The aliens claim that men are hybrids who were created by them, Satan, and the great lie and the great deception. Now, I have to add this as a Christian. There is a lot of eschatology believers, including myself, who believes it is possible. I'm not saying that it will happen. I'm saying it's possible that an alien life form, whether a Nephilim and fallen angels, could come claiming that they created the human race. And look. They have information in Blue Book in regards to that. You see, because the aliens believe in a universal cosmic God. See, they know that God exists, but their ruler is Satan. So that's who they serve. But they claim that men are hybrids who were created by them. Look, we weren't created by an alien race, and we weren't created by a Nephilim or a fallen angel. We were created by God. But this is something that they want you to believe. And they claim Jesus was a project of this is all lies that they're going to feed. But basically, they claim all religion was created by them. Look at that. They claim that Jesus was a product of their effort. And that's just straight up blasphemy. Let me tell you something. Jesus was not a product of their efforts, but they are going to claim that. And they're going to try to tell you that they made Jesus, they made you, and you need to serve them because they're your gods. But do not listen to them. All right? And supposedly they have their proof. But let me tell you something. Satan is a deceiver, unlike any other. He will tell you lies after lie, and this is what's going to happen. So this is why I am so adamant about telling the Christian world about this. Get informed about this, because God says that the great lie, even the elect, will be led astray, and that's what I don't want. All right, so alien bases, obviously you know what those are. Craft recoveries and abductions. Admitting that abductions do happen, which they can't, say anymore. But anyway, abductions of both humans and animals and mutilated cows. Many vanish without a trace. They take sperm, tissue, and with spherical devices. They do brain and nerve things. And if you've read the book of Yasher, it actually tells us in there that the fallen angels were very capable of messing with DNA. All right, so one little last section here, and then I'm going to let you go. But the existence of alien aircrafts at a hangar in Edwards Air Force Base. The hangar is at the north end, and it is not guarded, and it has been guarded by non-Edwards personnel. All right, and here are the badge insignia of some of the alien crafts. Here's some of the images that they saw on the crafts. So just, it's funny how it's a triangular symbol. And where does that symbol remind you of? Illuminati. Does that make sense now? Why they have a similar image to the UFOs? Anyway, I just want to close with that. I hope this brings all the information, and I really hope you listen to this in its context. This is not something that needs to be hush-hush kept secret, especially Plan A and B. But get the word out, and please share it with everyone you know. God bless.